Well, if I could ask you about one other topic before
We'll go right ahead. These are good questions.
One thing people like you or Bishop Desmond Tutu have brought to the table is like a really substantive interfaith exchange. Merton as well, and you know, and then which then always raises the question. It's like, okay, he's quoting Buddha, he's quoting Jesus, and then that almost invites you to talk about the uniqueness of Christ. What does that mean in light of non-dualistic conversation? Is there still a place for Christians to talk about the uniqueness of Christ without, so how do you navigate that?
Well, of course, this deserves an hour of subtlety at least. Well, let me say just a few things. But let me say it with the most outlandish way, first of all. I think the proof that you really have gotten Christ is that you can see Christ in all religions. That's the proof that you found Christ. It's so paradoxical, you know, that you have these universal eyes for the mystery, for the incarnation. Now, that's why, I don't know if you've read my stuff or listened to my stuff on the cosmic Christ. The great weakness of mainline Christianity, even more Protestant than Catholic, I have to say, is for the most part, they were never told about the cosmic Christ. First Colossians might as well have not been written. First Ephesians might as well not have been written. The prologue to John's Gospel might as well not have been written. They had almost no effect on Protestant Christianity. We had it in Orthodoxy. We had it in many of our Catholic mystics. But even in our churches, it was a subtext. Much better in the Orthodox than the Western Church. Because you had Maximus the Confessor and some of the early fathers who understood this. We had Duns Scotus, the Franciscan, in our tradition. So I would predict that the next century is not just going to be a rediscovery or a discovery of the centrality of the Trinity, which undercuts dualistic thinking, by the way, but also the balancing out of Jesus with Christ. And John's Gospel, that most notorious line that is almost always quoted to me, no one comes to the Father except through me. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. I said, that's the eternal Christ speaking, as is almost all of John's Gospel. It's a completely different voice than Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Isn't that obvious? You know, that we got the cosmic Christ speaking here, and he's speaking truth. The Christ mystery is the way, the truth. Whenever matter and spirit come together and are revealed as one, whenever divine and human come together, we have the Christ mystery, which Colossians and Ephesians and the prologue say existed since the beginning of time. So the Christ has been available to the Stone Age people, to the Persians, to the Mayans, to the Aztecs, to the Native Americans, to the Hindus, to the Buddhists, of course. You know, the main trouble with people is our Christ is so small. It's just, their God isn't very big at all. It's largely, Jesus has been understood and interpreted largely at a tribal level of consciousness, and we want people to join our tribe. And you just go to the four Gospels, particularly the Synoptic Gospels, you have anything but tribal teaching, where he's always honoring, and you know this, the Samaritan, the non-Jew, the pagan, the sinner, the outsider. It's so constant. You have to say after a while, this is perverse bad will not to see that. It's bad will that Christians keep creating an in-house spirituality, a tribal spirituality that we have two Jesuses. The Jesus before he died was clearly inclusive, but after he died and rose from the dead, he created an exclusionary religion, you know? Well, it's just, come on, you know? And the world can't take that seriously anymore. It's just, so I'm proudly Christian, and it's precisely my Christ that gives me not just permission, but a big shove in the direction of seeing him, seeing this Christ mystery everywhere. You know? Not just in those who wear the label Christ. And of course, you and I both know the many who wear the label Christ are sometimes the least exemplary of the Christ mystery, because they live in this tribal small world.